Hey, what's going on, Flix Talkers? Welcome back to another movie reaction. This time, it's another Alfred Hitchcock film. It is Rope from 1948. You guys let me know if you guys have seen this one down in the comments below. I absolutely know nothing about this film whatsoever. That's the best way I like to go into these flicks, so you guys get my genuine and honest reaction along the way. But first, before we get into it, I want to say a big thank you to Jason for recommending me to watch this one. He did gift me a whole Alfred Hitchcock set recently, and I can't wait to eventually watch all of these Hitchcock movies. So enough talking, let's get to watching. But before we do, if you guys want to show love and always support the channel, make sure to hit that big thumbs up and consider subscribing today for more reactions like this. Also, if you guys are watching this reaction on YouTube and want to watch the full uncensored cut, make sure to click on my Patreon link down in the description below, where you guys can join today for a 7-day free trial and pick the movies that I watch next. All right, Flix Talkers, so without further ado, my first time watching 1948's Rope. Now, just calling a movie Rope, what could this imply to? Literally hanging? What are we talking about here? What are we thinking? Adapted from a play? Okay, very cool. Also, I don't know if this is a colorized version, if the original was black and white. Please don't kill me. This is the only copy I have. You guys crucify me sometimes for watching colorized copies. I know how you guys do. I get it. I get it. The originality, black and white. Oh, that's a sound you don't want to hear. Oh, what I predicted, the rope. Right at the gate, we're starting with a killing.
Don't.
Got to see if there's
I know. Not just yet. Let's stay this way for a minute.
Oh man, this guy's really distraught about what he just did. I wonder if it was a friend of theirs, that's why they're acting so distraught.
There, that's much better. What a lovely evening.
I actually do like all the movie magic of the fake backgrounds and stuff when he opened up the blinds. I do like that. It actually feels more like a play, like a set that they're on.
I've always thought it was out of character for David to drink anything as corrupt as whiskey.
Out of character for him to be murdered, too.
Good Americans usually die young on the battlefield, don't they? Davids of this world merely occupy space, which is why he was the perfect victim for the perfect murder.
I resent that David comment.
In less than 8 hours, he'll be resting gently but firmly at the bottom of a lake.
Meanwhile, he's here.
What are you doing?
It's not locked.
All the better. It's much more dangerous.
I wish it was somebody else.
Whom would you have preferred? Kenneth?
Oh, I don't know. You, perhaps.
Ooh.
You frightened me. From that very first day in prep school. Part of your charm, I suppose. I'm only kidding, Brandon. I obviously can't take it as well as you, so I'm turning on you a little.
It's rather foolish, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
He might turn on you.
This is an occasion. It calls for champagne. I put some in the icebox. I've always wished for more artistic talent. Well, murder can be an art, too. The power to kill can be just as satisfying as the power to create.
Wow.
An immaculate murder. We've killed for the sake of danger and for the sake of killing. Even champagne isn't equal to us or the occasion. You can't have fear, you know. Neither of us can. That's the difference between us and the ordinary man, Philip. They talk about committing the perfect crime, but nobody does it. Nobody except us. Frightened anymore, are you, Philip?
No.
Not even of me?
No.
That's good.
Brandon, you don't think the party's a mistake, do you?
No, the party's the inspired finishing touch to our work. Not having it would be like,
Painting the picture and not hanging it?
This party will be the most exciting ever given. The Kentleys couldn't be duller if they tried. But we did have to have them. After all, they are David's mother and father.
That doesn't make them any easier to talk to.
Janet'll be buttering them up, poor girl. She's banked everything on hooking David. Somehow, I don't think she's going to succeed.
They killed this guy David with his parents coming over? That is sick.
Philip,
What?
take the other one. Come with me.
What's this all about?
This guy's spooky.
What the devil are you doing?
Making our work of art a masterpiece.
Brandon, you're going too far.
Why? What do you mean?
At least this way no one will try to open it.
We don't have too much time. Mrs. Wilson will be coming back soon. Hello? Oh, of course. You start on the books.
Who is it?
Mrs. Wilson.
This guy's so on edge. Is the rope sticking out?
Brandon!
Well, go on, yank it out. If Mrs. Wilson were here, she'd yank it out for you. Stupid display like that in front of somebody else will be just as good as a confession.
Yeah.
We agreed there was only one crime either of us could commit. The crime of making a mistake. Being weak is a mistake.
Because it's being human?
Because it's being ordinary. I won't let either of us stoop.
Philip is going to spill the beans. I already know this. This character seems so just taken by everything.
If it weren't for the traffic, I'd have been here a half hour ago.
Oh, it's just as well. We didn't expect you back until now.
Tell you, the next time we give a party, I'm only going to
Good evening, Mrs. Wilson.
What, may I ask, is happening to my table? I personally thought my table was quite lovely.
Mr. Ketley's coming to look at these old books I had in the chest. And I'm sure you wouldn't want the poor old man to have to get down on his knees to see them. Peculiar.
Very.
Well, on the contrary, I think they suggest a ceremonial altar, which you can heap with the foods for our sacrificial feast.
He is right. Well, I have too much to do to discuss this thoroughly, dear. However, I still think it's peculiar.
I was sure she'd notice.
Notice what?
The rope, of course. Brandon, we've got to hide it.
It's just weird. That's funny. I love the way they talk back then, by the way.
Mr. Cadell's coming.
Oh, Mr. Cadell's terribly nice.
Rupert's coming?
Oh, yes, I thought I told you.
Oh, I must say I did enjoy
No,
working for Mr.
you
Cadell.
didn't.
I always think... Well, you might let me finish.
Brandon, of all the people on this earth, Rupert Cadell is the one man most likely to suspect.
He's the one man who might appreciate this from our angle, the artistic one. As for Rupert, I once thought of inviting him to join us. He hasn't the nerve. Oh, intellectually, he could have come along. He's brilliant. He could have invented and he could have admired, but he never could have acted. That's where we're superior, Philip. We have courage. Rupert doesn't.
Oh, they're here. It'd be this last-minute hustle-bustle if you kept my table and let those roll.
Now the fun begins.
This guy is totally getting a thrill out of all of this. Like, he wants to get caught.
Okay, come in.
This guy, what is he doing?
Surprise, I guess. Hello, Kenneth. Good to see you. You too. Am I the first?
You are?
Why is it I'm always too early at parties?
Probably because you're always on time.
I'm always that guy that's on time.
It isn't someone's birthday, is it?
Don't look so worried, Kenneth. It's, really almost the opposite. Philip's bidding the world a temporary farewell tonight. I'm driving him up to Connecticut after the party.
Oh, I'm to be locked up. What?
To make sure he practices 6 hours a day. I've finally wangled a debut for him.
Town hall at that.
That's wonderful.
Most decorative.
Think so?
Hey, what is it? Looks like a pretty small farewell party.
Oh, well, we're really killing two birds with one stone. The party's also for Mr. Ketley.
David's father?
Yes.
Oh, David going to be here?
Of course.
Who else is coming?
Oh, no, and you don't know if that's what's bothering you. The Kentleys, Janet Walker.
Janet.
Yes. I thought you'd be glad to see her.
Janet and I are all washed up. Didn't you know?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Well, Janet and David are...
My,
May I? Help yourself.
And cheer up. I have the oddest feeling anyway that your chances with the young lady are much better than you think.
This guy's kind of sick, man. By the way, I am noticing a lot of the one-shot takes. Not 100%, but most of it's one-shot takes.
Is that funny? I never know when I'm being funny. I bet you're going to play a foul trick on all of us and become horribly famous. Hello, Ken. I seem to have run down.
What would you say to some champagne?
Hello, Champagne. You see what I mean about trying to be funny? How have you been, Ken?
Fine, thanks.
Oh, isn't that painting new?
Yes, it is. A new young American primitive.
I have a new young American sister. She's only 3 and her stuff is really primitive. Didn't I notice another new one in the foyer when I came in?
Well, I don't think so. Which?
Follow me. I'm going to talk to you real quick. She's funny.
I could really strangle you, Brandon.
What have I done now?
Well, I got a rope in the kitchen.
Why did you invite Kenneth?
Oh, why not?
We called it quits ages ago, and I'm practically engaged to his best friend.
David?
Yes, David.
Difficult trying to keep up with your romances. After me came Kenneth, now it's David.
She's dated the whole friend group, huh?
How many years has it been since I said, oh, it tickles? Don't you tell me.
I hear Rupert's coming.
Rupert Cadell, he was our housemaster at prep school.
Rupert's a publisher now, isn't he?
Maybe he can give me a job.
Rupert only publishes books he likes, usually philosophy.
Small print, big words, no sales.
Right.
Rupert's extremely radical.
Golly, those bull sessions you and Rupert used to have at school. Brandon would sit up till all hours at the master's feet.
Brandon at someone's feet. Who is this Rupert?
Oh, Mr. Kentley, so glad you could come.
Mrs. Kentley isn't well, so I took the liberty of bringing my sister-in-law, Mrs. Atwater. She's been staying with me.
I've been in New York 2 weeks. This is just my second party. I suppose it's only fair that
Let me take your thing.
Thank you.
Sorry to hear Mrs. Kentley so ill.
I love the way she talks, too.
This way, Mrs. Atwater.
Particularly this.
David!
Oh, no, you've made a mistake. This is Kenneth Lawrence.
Oh, that's all right, Anita. Kenneth is often mistaken for...
Jesus, boy. Get it together.
May I get you some champagne, Mrs. Atwater?
Oh, I should adore some. Daddy used to have a glass every morning at 11. But of course, Henry doesn't like it.
I hope David arrives soon. She wants him to call her.
David's her only child, Mr. Kentley.
Well, he's my only child, too. But I'm willing to let him grow up.
Yeah. They killed the only child. I feel like this is going to turn into a game of Clue.
Would you mind taking this into Janet? I thought you'd like to take it into her. She's in the bedroom telephoning.
Then you'd like David to walk in.
Oh, no, that'd be too much of a shock.
When we walk.
Can you really tell my future from that?
Of course, I'm only an amateur. These hands will bring you great fame.
Yeah, he used those hands for something else earlier. Oh, there he is. James Stewart.
I was beginning to think you weren't going to show.
You know me better than that.
May I present Mr. Rupert Cadell?
Delighted.
Thank you. That's very good champagne, too. What's the occasion?
Well, I told you on the phone. It began as a little party for Mr. Kentley so he could look over those first editions. Well, I thought I'd make it sort of a farewell for Philip.
Therefore, champagne.
Yes.
You always did stutter when you were excited.
Mr. Cadell.
Oh, Miss Wilson.
I hope David gets here soon.
Yes, where is David?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Have you seen that new thing at the Strand?
Yes, I adored it.
I didn't like the new girl much. Definitely Scorpio.
No, I didn't like her either, but her clothes were fabulous.
Simply divine.
Absolute heaven. Of course, the man I have a passion for is James Mason. Absolutely terrific.
So attractively sinister. Tall as the bull, you know. Very obstinate.
Really?
Oh, he was thrilling in that new thing with Bergman. What is it called now? The something of the something. This was just plain something. You know, it was sort of, you know.
It was right on the tip of my tongue. I once went to the movies. I saw Mary Pickford.
Well, what did you see her in?
I don't quite recall the something. Or was it just plain something?
I don't believe you ever went.
If I were you, I'd go easy on the patty, dear.
Come on, Kenneth.
Calories.
Don't be polite.
Calories. That's so funny to know that, weight and all that was a topic still back then. Watch your calories, girl.
A little of both on this for Mrs. Atwater.
What about you?
I don't eat it.
How queer. I never heard of anyone who didn't eat chicken. Why don't you eat it, Philip? Well, now, there must be a reason. Freud says there's a reason for everything.
There's no reason, Janet.
Come on, Brandon, please.
Well, it happened about 3 years ago in Connecticut. We were going to have chicken, so we walked over to the farm. And in the yard, Philip was doing likewise to the necks of 2 or 3 chickens.
Oh, dear.
But on this particular morning, his touch was perhaps a trifle too delicate. One of the subjects for our dinner table suddenly rebelled. Like Lazarus, he rose...
That's a lie!
Philip.
I never strangled a chicken in my life.
Now, look here, Philip.
I never strangled a chicken, and you know it.
Yeah, they're going to get found out for sure. By him.
Well, is it all over? In another moment, you might have been strangling each other instead of a chicken. A man's honor was at stake. And personally, I think a chicken is as good a reason for murder as customary unimaginative reasons.
Well, now, you don't really approve of murder, Rupert.
Think of the problems it would solve. Unemployment, poverty, standing in line for theater tickets. Careful application of the trigger finger, and a pair of seats in the first row is yours for the shooting.
She likes that.
What a divine idea. If it suits your purpose merely, but then we'd all be murdering each other.
Oh, no. After all, murder, or should be, an art. And as such, the privilege of committing it should be reserved for those few who are really superior individuals. Now, mind you, I don't hold with the extremists who feel that there should be open season for murder all year round. Personally, I would prefer to have cut a throat week or strangulation day.
I really don't appreciate this morbid humor.
I'm a very serious fellow.
Then may I ask, who is to decide that a human being is inferior?
This is why Brandon did what he did.
The few who are privileged to commit murder.
And just who might they be?
The few are those men of such intellectual and cultural superiority that they're above the traditional moral concepts. Good and evil.
But obviously you agree with Nietzsche and his theory of the Superman.
Yes, I do.
So did Hitler.
Hitler was a paranoid savage. His supermen, all fascist supermen, were brainless murderers. I'd hang them first for being stupid.
But in any case, I'd rather not hear any more of your, forgive me, contempt for humanity, the standards of a world that I believe is civilized.
Civilized?
Yes.
Perhaps what is called civilization is hypocrisy. Well, I'm sure Rupert, fortunately,
Oh, now, gentlemen,
has
really,
the intelligence and imagination
Please,
to...
Brandon, I think we've had just about enough.
Wow.
Apologize, sir. Again, I'm afraid I let myself get carried away.
Oh, that's quite all right, my boy.
Wow. Brandon is putting Rupert on this pedestal, man. But, I mean, this is where he's learning this stuff from.
You were really pushing your point rather hard. You aren't planning to do away with a few inferiors by any chance.
Who knows?
I see.
You know, when I was a girl, I used to read quite a bit.
Oh, we all do strange things in our childhood. Why don't you switch on the radio or play some records? A little atmospheric music goes a long way.
He thinks I threw you over because David has a bigger bank account.
Then why do you go?
Because I'm embarrassed at being here with you. I should think you'd have the decency to be embarrassed yourself.
Why?
You threw me over, John, remember? Wouldn't friend Brandon love to know that? I'm also embarrassed because, well, you and David used to be such good friends, and you're not now. It's my fault. Why must I try and be so smart with everyone but David? I relax with David, thanks to you. That grim Sunday at Harvard, when you called it quits, David took me for a walk. I just couldn't be the gay girl. I just relaxed and let everything pour out. The real me stuff. Oh, where's David?
You know, I'm not very smart. I never realized you were... You are in love with David, aren't you?
Yes.
Brandon made a crack when I got here. Well, he sort of implied I'd have a better chance with you again because David would be out of the running.
Wait. You mean before I got here, Brandon knew we had broken
He even
up?
knew about you and David.
What?
What's going on here, anyway?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out once and for all.
I like the unraveling of all these characters' notions.
I don't believe David's coming.
Wait and see.
I don't have to. He's never this late. He's never late at all. I might have known you couldn't just give a party for Mr. Kentley. No, you'd have to add something that appealed to your warped sense of humor. Well, I hope you've enjoyed yourself, Brandon. I haven't.
Something gone wrong, Brandon?
No, Janet just has a talent for being bothersome at times.
Well, you always plan your party so well, it's odd to have anything go wrong. She seems to be missing David. As a matter of fact, I'm beginning to miss him myself.
Aren't we all?
What are with these transitions where it goes into the jacket and then it kind of pans back out? I mean, I know it's like a camera trick, but why? Because we go out for the same shot pretty much.
Got up out of the wrong side of the bed. They've been in a state all day. Usually, he lets me prepare everything in my own way, but Mr. Brandon was in the maddest rush for me to clean up and get the table set. But then when I was whisking out to do the shopping, he suddenly told me to take the whole afternoon for it.
Did he say why?
No, but when I came back, he and Mr. Phillip were going at it hammer and tongs.
Oh. Why did you serve from here, anyway?
It was my idea.
Very well.
Is she still harping on her table and how awkward it is to serve from this? This way, people don't have to go all the way into the dining room to get their food and come all the way back here to eat it.
Seems to me they've gone all the way in there now for their dessert and coffee.
Mrs. Wilson, please serve the guests. Don't lecture them.
We did get up on the wrong side of the bed, didn't we?
Oh, he's picking up on all of this. You know this guy knows about psychology. Come on, man. You can tell he's letting it all soak in, what these guys are saying. The whole, how they came to be of this party and how they set it all up.
What's going on, Philip?
Let's stop playing crime and punishment, Rupert. You want to know something? Come out with it. Otherwise...
Oh, no, temper. Now, don't stop.
I'd like a drink.
Oh, wait, I'll get it for you.
This guy's gonna crack like an egg, man.
Just what is Brandon trying to do with Janet and Kenneth?
There's nothing going on at all, Rupert.
That's the second time you haven't told me.
When was the first?
When you said you'd never strangle a chicken. About a year ago. I was up at the farm, you remember? One morning I saw you display your handiwork. You're quite a good chicken strangler, as I recall.
Well, I didn't think it was a suitable topic of conversation while we were eating.
You could have said that.
All right, I didn't. Because I don't like to talk about...
About what? Strangling?
I can't play with that thing.
I want you to have them.
It's extremely generous of you, Brandon. I don't know.
Please, I know you appreciate first editions far more than I, Mr.
Yo, that is sick. He gave him the murder weapon for his son?
I don't like it, Brandon, and I'm not going to take it.
Voice down. I hope I didn't upset Philip.
There's a lady phoning for either Mr. Kentley or Mrs. Atwater.
Oh, it must be Alice. I'll talk to her, Henry.
Mr. Kentley, do you suppose David could possibly be home?
I hate to throw a damper, but if David was home, I should think he'd be calling instead of Mrs. Kentley. The David I remember was very polite as well as very punctual.
Or maybe he went down to Janet's.
Why?
Perhaps he decided to pick her up after all.
We might have a better chance of finding out where he is now if we knew where he was this afternoon.
Is she going to try to put these books inside the chest? This has really got me on edge right now. Like, she keeps bringing them.
Were you, Kenneth?
No, I wish I had been.
Oh, God.
Oh, there was a lot to be done this afternoon. You, didn't speak to David at all today, then?
No. Why do you ask?
This whole shot of them not focusing on the subjects talking is amazing.
Here, I'll help you with that, Miss.
Oh, thank
Oh.
you, Mr. Cadet.
There.
You can put the books back when you come in to clean in the morning. Just let the books go for now.
Well,
God dang.
She's frantic. She began to cry so badly. Oh, Henry, I'm worried. She wants you to call the police.
the police.
Oh, no, Anita. I don't think that's necessary.
Rupert was waiting for their reactions when they said that.
I can't tell you how sorry I am.
I'm sure the dear boy will turn up somehow.
This is hardly the time, but very glad we had that talk.
So am I.
I'll get my hat.
Oh, going with Janet?
Yes, we're all going together.
What did I predict?
You're a weirdo, bro. You dated her too. You're weird.
You will call me the moment you hear from David.
I will.
I love how James Stewart is like this close right here. He's this close to cracking the case.
Good night. Can I help you with those books, Mr. Kentley? Thanks.
Wow. That was a thrill for him. It's like he just had sex. He's smoking a cigarette. This is some American Psycho stuff.
Oh, Philip, this party really deserves to go down in history.
Without Rupert.
Oh, but he was brilliant.
Prying? Snooping? Or just plain pumping? Do you know how busy he was questioning me? Have you ever bothered for just 1 minute to understand how someone else might feel? Mr. Brandon gave the party. Mr. Brandon had a delightful evening. Well, I had a rotten evening.
We'd better draw the curtains.
Who's that?
Rupert.
Brandon, who's
I'll be
that?
the garage man with my car keys. Answer it.
Gotta be.
Well, let him come.
But you know he's lying. He's caught on. He didn't leave
Shut
any...
up and get back to that phone.
Brandon, I can't.
You've got to.
No, he knows. Shut up.
Oh. I feel like Brandon wants to get caught. Like, this would be the peak of the thrill for him.
Rupert, come on up. Got to pull yourself together, do you?
Brandon,
No,
Brandon.
look. I'm not going to get caught because of you or anyone else. No one is going to get in my way now.
Ooh, that crazy just crept through in those eyes.
Brandon, it's not loaded, is it?
Oh, it's about to go down.
I knew you were leaving tonight, and I didn't want to be left without my case. Thought perhaps...
Any idea where you left the case?
No, not at all. Completely unlike me to forget it, isn't it? I suppose a psychoanalyst would say that I didn't really forget it at all. But why should I want to come back?
For the pleasure of our company, or another drink.
Oh, well, here it is, right where I left it. Gentlemen, I beg your pardon. I'm very sorry. Well, may I have that drink anyway?
Of course.
You're sure it's all right?
He said you could have it.
Thank you.
Don't worry, Philip. I'm afraid he's had a few too many.
Well, why not? Why not? Well, his not showing up. You don't think anything really did happen to him, do you?
What happened?
When whatever did happen to David. Nothing, probably. Where is he?
What's your theory?
I was considering Janet's for the moment.
Oh, I didn't know she had one.
I couldn't help overhearing Janet. I gather she thinks you kidnapped David, or did something to prevent him from coming.
Do you think I, kidnapped David? How would you get David out of the way?
Now, you're much better at this sort of thing than I am.
No, but what would you do if you were I?
God, Brandon is psycho.
I'd invite him for a drink at the club or some quiet bar. Or better still, I'd invite him here.
Oh, that's good. And no witnesses.
Yes, that's right.
Then what?
David would arrive. I'd walk slowly out of the room into the hall, and I'd bring him in here, make some small talk to put him at his ease. I'd try to make it all very pleasant. As I recall, David was quite strong, so I'd move quietly around behind the chair and hit him on the head with something.
Then where would you put him?
Well, let me see. Yes, where?
Cat and mouse.
With him in this condition, though, there doesn't seem to be much point in your staying, Rupert. Unless you came back to find something besides your cigarette case.
I don't think for a moment that you kidnapped David. If it weren't that you seem to be carrying fear of discovery in your pocket.
What?
That's a gun, isn't it?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Rupert. I don't blame you, but here, you can relax. I have to take it up at the country. There have been several burglaries and... finished, Philip?
He ain't gonna believe that.
What Rupert said about the gun. He thought... Philip, you'll feel much better once you get out in the open air. I don't think there'll be much traffic, and we ought to make good time.
Oh, my God.
You were right, Philip. Those books were tied clumsily.
He's got it. He's got it. He knows.
All right.
He knows.
Easy. I'll take care
No,
of it.
you won't. This is what you wanted, isn't it? Somebody else to see how brilliant you are, just like at school. And now we're done for. Now I don't know. You made me do it, and I hate you. I hate both of us.
Oh, shit. What's gonna happen? Dude, Brandon, help him out.
Stupid, babbling drunk.
But I'm going to look inside that chest.
Are you crazy?
I hope so.
Rupert, this has nothing to do with you.
I've got to.
Don't.
I've
Rupert.
got to look inside that chest.
All right. I hope you like what you see.
This is what it's all been building to, the whole movie.
Rupert, please.
Please, what?
Remember the discussion we had before with Mr. Ketley? The lives of inferior beings are unimportant. We've always said, you and I, moral concepts of good and evil and right and wrong don't hold for the intellectually superior. That's all we've done. That's all Philip and I have done. I knew you'd understand because you have to, don't you see? You have to.
Brandon, this world and the people in it have always been dark and incomprehensible to me. And I've tried to clear my way with logic, and you've thrown my own words right back in my face, Brandon. But you've given my words a meaning that I never dreamed of. And you've tried to twist them into a cold, logical excuse for your ugly murder. There must have been something deep inside you from the very start that let you do this thing. But there's always been something deep inside me that would never let me do it. I mean that tonight you've made me ashamed of every concept I ever had of superior or inferior beings. Because now I know that we are each of us a separate human being, Brandon. By what right did you dare decide that that boy in there was inferior and therefore could be killed? Did you think you were God, Brandon? Is that what you thought when you choked the life out of him? Is that what you thought when you served food from his grave? You've murdered! You've strangled the life out of a fellow human being who could live and love as you never could and never will again.
What are you doing?
You're going to die, Brandon, both of you. You're going to die.
Wow, what an... God, this is an actor. Now's your chance, Brandon. Push him out the window. Push him out the window. Go out with a blaze of glory. I love how you can hear everybody outside. Take that final drink, Brandon. Your superiority complex is over. I love that he changed the mind of Rupert, too. Because he knows that's what was taught to these gentlemen from him. And he never thought that someone would go along with it, at least with these actions. You know, he thought they would just stay words. Because words do have meaning. They do hold weight. They do have consequences. And this is just one of those stories. Wow. That was great. All right, y'all. And that was 1948's Rope. All right, Flicks Talkers. Wow. Wow, to say the least, man. This is when cinema was cinema. You didn't need the razzle-dazzle of multiple settings or different scenes. This was a one-location movie, and it's very, very hard to pull something like this off, guys. I mean, I know it was based off of a play, and that's exactly what it felt like. Like I was on the set of a play with a couple of moving components and moving parts and people moving in and out of this, apartment. And I really, really fell in love with this, Brandon and Philip, and then James Stewart as Rupert. This is one of those movies where you just feel like a fly on the wall, guys, just watching from the outside, just taking it all in with these conversations. And oh man, it was such a delight to go back to those days, obviously. You just feel like you're more in a simplistic world than what you're used to probably dealing with other cinema that you've seen. So this is in the late 40s. And once again, we got one setting, this apartment that you're kind of dipping into the living room, into the kitchen, back and forth, a couple of one-take shots, or what they thought was a one-take shot. I think that's kind of how they were hiding it, by zooming into the coat and then zooming out. It's probably just giving the cameraman a break or something. I know I've seen that tactic before. I forget what it's called, but we're talking about Rope, guys. This is the Alfred Hitchcock flick that's a little different from what I've seen before, like Psycho, or more recently, The Birds, obviously. That's way different, right? But it doesn't mean that it's not scary just because it's humans interacting, right? Because we're talking about murder here, and Alfred Hitchcock is perfect at that. And this was kind of laying the groundworks of someone that I felt wanted to get found out. And he did get found out, him and his buddy, and they had to deal with those consequences. And Brandon was definitely the psychopath of the group, the bunch. And I like that they all kind of knew each other, and he wanted to set this up in an elaborate rouge or elaborate way with this dinner party. And then they say that David's gone, and then they could have killed David and threw him in the trash outside or something like that, but they wanted to add him, make him part of the set piece. I think Brandon did for a reason. I don't think it had anything to do with time's sake, really. I think he kind of wanted it that way. But he's kind of weird. He was sick. And we saw, obviously, that the cops were coming in the end, and their plan was foiled. So I really do like these mystery clue type of movies. It may not be for everybody, but then again, this wasn't that long of a film. It was only like an hour and 22 minutes, something like that. So it was a perfect watch. I had really a good time with this one, and I didn't really have any nitpick gripes about it, to be completely honest. Let me know if you guys did at all, but I thought this was a very, very solid picture. And for that, I'm going to give 1948's Rope a solid 5 out of 5. This is a great Hitchcock flick, and I've seen a couple of his other ones, so I know there's a lot of moving parts with the other movies, and I think I gave those lower scores, but the fact that this one was just so simplistic and just straight to it, kind of, but not, this is dealing with different psychological elements as well. And the fact that people would want to take out the inferior or feeling they're superior, it's deep rooted in history, right? So there's a lot to think about when you're dealing with a movie with this kind of concept. So you guys let me know your thoughts, please, in the comments below. If you guys did appreciate mine, let me know. And thanks again, Jason, for recommending this one for me to watch. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm gone.